Today in Cannabis News, the Senate of the British Overseas Territory of Bermuda rejects a cannabis policy reform bill, leaving the resolution up to the governor. Statewide recreational cannabis sales officially kick off throughout New Mexico, and for the second time in American history, the U.S. House of Representatives passes the MORE Act for major federal cannabis policy reform. It's Monday, April 4th, and this is your TRICHOMES Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the TRICHOMES.com studios in Southern California, it's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, the Senate of the British Overseas Territory of Bermuda has blocked the Progressive Labour Party government's cannabis bill for a second time in 1 year. However, Governor Rina Lalji now has the responsibility of making a decision on the contentious topic. If the policy violates United Nations drug conventions to which Britain is a participant, the governor, who represents the Queen in Bermuda, has stated that she will not offer royal assent, a method by which a monarch formally approves an act of the legislature. The 10 senators who attended the recent upper house session were divided in half, with one senator abstaining from the vote. The proposal was supported by 5 senators, but it was rejected by 3 independents and 2 One Bermuda Alliance senators in attendance who joined to criticize the Cannabis Licensing Act 2022, claiming that it will hinder the territory instead of assisting it. The bill would provide a controlled environment for cannabis production and distribution. A licensing board would issue a number of permits, allowing people not just to acquire cannabis, but also to cultivate, produce, distribute, and ship it. Next up, New Mexico's legal recreational cannabis sales have officially begun statewide. Cannabis retailers have been preparing for the moment by stocking up on a range of items and combing over a slew of employment candidates, with roughly 200 to 300 people applying for several openings. As of the beginning of the month, 69 cannabis dispensary establishments had been authorized by the city of Albuquerque. Adults aged 21 years or older can buy a maximum of 2 ounces of cannabis or equivalent quantities of cannabis extracts and edibles anywhere throughout the state. Last week, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham stated that comprehensively legalizing cannabis statewide is in response to public desire and is creating local business possibilities. From 2007, New Mexico has had a medical cannabis system in place with stringent regulations. As seasoned medical cannabis growers increase production and establish sales storefronts, aspiring cannabis cultivators around the state are vying for water rights and working on growing their initial cannabis crops. Last up, for the second time in American history, the United States House of Representatives adopted a proposal for federal cannabis policy reform, accepting a couple of amendments to the proposal prior to official approval. After discussion on House Judiciary Chairman Gerald Nadler's Marijuana Opportunity, Reinvestment, and Expungement Act, and the acceptance of a couple of amendments and the denial of another, the entire House voted 220 to 204 to cease the federal-level cannabis ban and encourage social equity in the sector. The decision was mainly partisan, with just 3 Republicans voting in favor of the bill and 2 Democrats voting against it. In 2020, a similar iteration of the MORE Act was approved by the full House, but it was blocked in the then Republican-controlled Senate. A $10 million grant to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to support studies on technologies and methods that law enforcement may use to determine whether a driver is impaired by marijuana is one of the accepted amendments to the bill. The other mandates that the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health perform research on the impact of the legalization of recreational cannabis by states on the workplace, while establishing best practices for use by employers that are transitioning their policies related to the use of recreational cannabis, prioritizing the development of best practices for employers engaged in federal infrastructure projects, transportation, public safety, and national security. That was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit trichomes.com. And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, Tech in Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation, wherever you get your podcasts. For trichomes.com, I'm RJ Balde, signing off.